Okay, so I'm here and I'm joined by Cameron from Born of Osiris. You got to do the devil horns. It's the rule. Drummer extraordinaire and founding member of the band. So first of all, sir, how are you? How is sunny Chicago? And you got the green screen going there. You got to put something pretty brutal on in the background for us.
Yes, Damian, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful, sunny Chicago day today. But of course, I spend most of my time in the basement, even on the nice days, because I'm always working on something. As you can see, I have the green screen, and I put a lot of different things on there. Whatever is fitting my imagination for that day, I'll put behind me. So uh, it's nice. I actually have my drum sets over here too. This
Oh,
is
that looks cool.
yeah. This is
Do you
where
know?
the magic happens.
Do you know, all I've got is a Lego toy in the background, so like yours is much more impressive
Wait.
than mine, I have to
Oh, I
admit.
think I can see it. I gotta move where my camera is located. Oh my god, that is so cool. Wait, do you build that?
I built that, yeah.
How long did
So
that take to build? That's crazy.
probably about 7 or so weeks. It was a beast, but it was worth it. But anyway, we're not
Seven
here to talk
seven
about.
weeks. It's awesome.
We're not here to talk about my obsession with Star Wars Lego. We're here to talk about you, Born of Osiris, and of course the new album that came out, I believe, on the 11th of July.
Yeah, through shadows.
Yeah. So let's start off. I understand that Through Shadows sort of explores confronting darkness and choosing the light. Now, how did you personally connect with that theme, especially on a day-to-day level, and that led you to write this particular album?
That is a great question. So, I had a bit of a troubled past in starting with my teenage years. I was a little bit of a rebel, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like whatever your parents tell you not to do, you do it, right? I was one of
Yep.
those kids. So I think the shadows or the troubles, the darkness happened at a fairly early age for me, growing into adolescence and just being kind of a bad teenager and experimenting with drugs and stuff like that. And luckily I grew out of it. But yeah, that I think that's one of the shadows for a lot of people is substance abuse. Is definitely a big one. So those are the shadows, but the light remained because I stuck to a better path and my head is in the right place. And I just found healthy outlets like music, fitness, cooking, and family. Family really helps. And seeing my nieces now, they're young. I have two nieces, 2 and 5, but seeing their innocence and I guess I just would hope that they would be able to be on like a more straight path than I took because I never want them to experience the lows like that because it does get low. So hopefully they can avoid all of that. But yeah, I would hope that for people younger, I wish it was easier to tell people like, hey, there's a pile of poo and don't step in it because like it's not going to be fun. But that's kind of what the path of drugs and alcohol stuff led to when I was younger. So it's good to be out of that phase. So yeah, that's how I can relate with through shadows, just having a dark path as a younger kid and finding my way out of it through music.
Cool. I mean, at the end of the day, I think sometimes those low points help shape us, shape who we are. So every experience can be taken in a good way or a bad way. And I guess you've learnt from those experiences and created an album that is absolutely outstanding.
Well, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Honestly, I've really been enjoying it. Um, and it's funny when you talk about your past like that because I often wonder to myself if I met the teenage me because I gave up drinking and I'd like similar to you like enjoy cooking and like more family orientated stuff now. I think if the 16, 17-year-old me met me now, I think he would try and kick my ass, but I think I've got a lot to teach that guy.
Well,
So,
congratulations
yeah.
on the not drinking. By the way, that's a
Oh,
big one.
thank you. Now, compared to your last album, was it Angel and Alien? That's the right
Yes.
way, right? Yeah, Good. I've been
Right.
calling it Alien and Angel constantly, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. And here I am
Tomato,
admitting I got it
tomato,
wrong.
tomato. Even if you said it that way, I said, "Hey, it's close enough."
Cool. But how do you feel the themes and and emotional tones of the current record actually compare to that one, and how the band has evolved since then?
So, Angels, or Alien was a cool kind of a pivotal moment for the band because our guitarist Nick Rossi was pretty new in the band with that album, and he wrote a lot of the music for that album. So it was kind of a cool showcase of having Nick in the band. Nick actually started as the bass player in the band, but that was more of an emergency situation. We all knew he's amazing at guitar. We didn't realize how amazing he is at production and songwriting. We knew he was good, but we didn't know he was like mind-blowingly good. So he he wrote lots of the songs on that album. So he also had a couple songs on the Simulation, the album that came before that. But I think Nick really, his songwriting shines quite a bit on Angel or Alien. So I think it's very noticeable if you go through our discography and then that you hear that album front to back and you're like, there's something different here. I don't know what it is, but there's also a lot of the same flavors as well. Then I think through Shadows, I like to call that album the sampler platter of Born of Osiris. Like if you were to order the sampler platter that had just all the little appetizers, because you don't know which appetizer you get. So you get like, the mozzarella sticks and you get the spinach dip. Like that's basically all of the combination of what Born of Osiris is. It's a sampler platter of all the sounds. If you start from 2007, our very first album, The New Rain, and then you go all the way down to Through Shadows. I think we did a good job of throwing in a little taste of what the band has sounded like in the past, and present. Ronnie did a really nice job on the vocals, and the clean vocals is something that we've flirted with clean vocals a bit in the past, but Ronnie really went all in on the cleans as well. Something that we were experimenting with it. It was experimental for us this time around, I'd say, and I thought he did a great job with that. So yeah, shout out to Ronnie for doing just an amazing job on the vocals.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, well, first of all, thanks for the food analogy. I mentioned to you I was hungry, and now you're
Are you
making me
hungry now?
even hungrier.
Sorry about that.
But no, the clean vocals, that was a really nice touch. And I do love, seeing bands evolve and experiment because I do find a lot of people sometimes find their sound, find what works for them, and then don't change. So the fact that you guys are doing that, even in like potentially some of the smallest ways, is absolutely great. Now, the album, it came out on the 11th of July, so it's been out for over a month now at the time of recording this interview. How do you personally feel it's been received by the fans and the critics? I mean, I say critics, like I always say don't listen to the critics because it's the fans that listen to you. So, and I say that when I write about music, don't listen to me, listen to it yourself. But how do you feel they've been received?
It's been going over very well. And I don't want to say surprisingly well because we knew people were going to like it, but I guess I didn't know that they were going to like it this much. So I'm always overcritical, and the negative comments you'll read online for some reason are always the ones that stick with you. For example,
Yeah.
if I read like 45 outstanding comments on the album, but there was one and it was just very negative, that for some reason that erased all the 45 good ones that I just read, and all I remember is that one negative one. I don't know why that's how my brain works. It's unfortunate. So I do try to remove myself from reading too many of the comments because you can get caught up. But no, it was really a great reaction. I was expecting to read a few comments and be like, okay, that's enough internet for the day. Everyone hates me. But no, it was, the
No.
feeling. It was really great. I know a lot of people. An old like fan favorite is the Discovery, and it's also one of my personal favorite records that we have done because I think it just has a cool little sprinkle of like everything that represents the band, and to have a lot of comparisons to that album was very cool. I think a lot of the metal elitists who, you know, they like my band, but they only like us for one album. So even those people
Yeah.
were speaking up. They're like, "Hey, this is the closest thing you've done to the Discovery." It's all like, "Okay, I'll take it."
It's always the way. There's always someone that will find fault, but at the end of the day, I think it's our human nature to actually focus in on the negative a lot of the time. So it's something I can relate to when you say that. But I would say listen to the positive. Easy to say, tough to do. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
I'm withdrawn from the comments, and I'm just creating new stuff. And if I feel like looking at them, they'll be there.
Cool. Now, you released quite a handful of singles in the release up to the record, and I think I've got written down 1.2 million views on YouTube across these. I look at those numbers, and whenever I sort of surpass 100 on my videos, I'm like going, "Hey, I've done well." Then I saw that, and I was like, "What a way to make me feel down." But
Wow,
how does it?
I didn't know that. That's cool
Yeah,
information.
that's what I've read. So, how does it make you feel when you're actually getting that kind of traction on your songs?
It's really exciting because, as I said earlier, there's always a little bit of self doubt with releasing something, and especially the first single. I always get nervous for that because it's something that just represents the whole album. And that being said, I don't love that we released Torchbearer first. It's like I'm not pointing fingers, like I'm not blaming anybody. It's just how things happened. I think that I don't think it's a bad song, but there would have been several other options that represent the album better, in my opinion, that we would put out first. Another thing that I would say I don't want to do again is release so many singles until the album comes out. I mean, we had the first single came out like 2 years before the album drops,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's not normal. That's not how we planned it. There were just a lot of changes going on, whether it be with the record label or internally with the band, and life gets in the way and things. A lot of changes. So that was not intentional, but we're just glad that we got to put out the album finally. People are loving the songs live. We're having a lot of fun playing them, and yeah, the reception's just been really amazing. Next time, we're not going to do so many singles, and I promise it's not going to take us 4 years to put out another album.
I mean, I'm going to go slightly off topic from my question set because I'm always fascinated to see people's views. I mean, you've been a band since 2003, and even when I say that, I'm there going, "Oh, it was just years ago," but it still feels like only a couple of years. But how do you feel when, with regards to releasing an album? How necessary do you actually find it in today's age? Because it's very easy for artists, to drop song after song after song, and in some instances, some people have a huge catalogue of music but no albums to go with it. Now, I know where I stand. I still love a full album, but how do you feel about how I suppose our consumption of music in that regards has changed?
So I think that some bands and artists can get away with the being like a singles musician. I mean, if you look at a band like Falling in Reverse, yeah, they have albums, but it's kind of few and far between. I think they thrive off just putting out singles with these insane music videos, and you can tell all the focus was really on one song, and not just the song, but the visuals behind it, and which is a very cool approach because I do think when you're expected to put like 14 or so songs together, there is going to be something that gets a little bit less attention that maybe could have benefited from more attention. But that being said, it's Born of Osiris is not a singles band. We're very much an album band. As you said, you're an album guy, and I think our fans are album people. I don't think overall Born of Osiris's listeners are so much singles people, or at least not pertaining to our band. I do think that they really like to enjoy the album in full. And for me as a listener, I actually admittedly don't even listen to singles at all many times because I'll say, well, I'll wait for the whole album, or I'm busy, and I generally, when I will be listening to a full album, that will be in the gym. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm just working a lot at home. I don't really just put out an album and sit there at home. I have too many other things I'm doing. But in the gym, that's my time. I get to hear a full album. So one single isn't really gonna do much for me in the gym because, like, would rather just have a full record to listen to straight through. But yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. I don't think Born of Osiris will ever be a singles band. We just need to always put out albums. But I will say we should do an EP sometime. We haven't done that since our like first record, if you count that as an EP. It was only like 21 minutes long. But yeah, singles are cool, but we're an album band.
And I'm glad you are. As I said, I
Yeah,
feel like a bit of a dinosaur sometimes when how we consume music digitally and everything
me
now has
too.
changed.
Me too.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I suppose I could always, I'm now that person that loves records, where I was like, I want my CDs, as it were. Um, Although ironically, I've got loads of CDs, but no actual CD player anymore. I used to
Yeah.
play it on my laptop, and my latest laptop does not have a disc tray. So
Play them on the PlayStation or something.
that's not a bad idea. I have got a disc-based PlayStation. I'm
There
going to
you
do
go.
that from now on.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to touring and everything. You've just wrapped up an EU headlining tour, and now I think you're heading to Canada, I believe, for the next leg.
So yeah, we just got back from Europe and Canada. We just got back from
Oh,
Canada as well. So we
my
did those.
apologies.
No, it's okay. We did those tours back to back, and it was a lot of fun. Europe was crazy. We played a lot of new places that I have never been, and it's crazy all the different places that we just went, and I'm trying to comprehend all of them. I'm like, wow, my memory escapes me. And but yeah, it was really cool. Canada was awesome. We sold out 9 of the shows, so the turnout was really nice. That was the first time we've ever done a month long Canada tour. I think most bands don't ever do that. I know that bands will generally just go hit Montreal, Toronto, maybe Quebec City, um, Ottawa. But yeah, we hit a lot of markets. It was really exciting. It was my first time to many of these places. Some highlights in Canada being Halifax. We sold out that show. It was a big show. It was our first time ever there. We didn't know what to expect. Beautiful city. It's on the that's the east coast uh,
Yeah.
of Canada, and gosh, it was pretty. I just spent the day walking the pier, looking at the boats, and just eating some good food by the water. Victoria is another highlight of Canada. So that's on the west coast, and we had to take a ferry just to get there. So the location of that is comparable to like kind of close to Seattle in the United States. So I've been there, but I had never been to Victoria. So uh, there's something about that that area, like the upper west coast, that is just breathtaking. So yeah, Victoria is really cool. I think all like the tourists haven't even found out about that place yet. So that's like Canada's best kept secret, in my opinion, is Victoria. One of the coolest places I've ever been.
Cool. Well, V13 is based out of Canada, so I'm definitely going to be going there at some point, and it's Victoria will be the number one place.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Check it
yeah,
out.
yeah. So it's actually the US leg of your tour that's coming up. Have I got that correct at least?
Yes, yes.
That's it. So I've been looking at so many different tour dates all over the place at the moment, and I clearly failed up on that one. Now, I do have to ask, uh, what's the difference between, European shows and North American shows and how fans react? And who would you say is better? And bear in mind, even though the UK left the EU, I still consider myself part of the EU. So there's only one right answer here. Let's be honest.
So I wouldn't say that one is better or worse than the other. I will say it's more exciting to be in Europe and to see crowds of people that I've never seen before, and a lot more people are there who have never seen us because we have played let's face it, we played the United States so many times, and yeah, we've been to Europe a decent amount of times, but it's just feels like such a new experience every time I'm there. So I think even just my energy being in Europe where I'm like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm here. It's just feels really fresh. I will say you guys got to work on the air conditioning thing though.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that we generally don't have. It's a weird one. We'll probably turn the air conditioning on maybe 1 or 2 months at a time in a year, but that short period, yeah, I think you're right. We do need it. It's you're not
So
wrong.
I think there's a myth that you guys will say, "Oh, well, if we used air conditioning, we would just be getting sick all the time." I'm like, I'm sick right now because there is no air conditioning.
To be fair, I do have a portable one in my bedroom to help me sleep at night during the hot weather. So yeah, I don't get sick from it. It keeps me cool. I won't lie.
Oh yeah, sleeping
Yeah.
when it's cool is the best. But yeah, we love Europe, and here's a little secret: we're coming back, and this time we're not skipping the UK.
Damn straight.
So that's a secret. It's not announced, but you heard it here first. We're doing that in January, so we're really excited to come back to the UK. So I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but it's okay. You heard it from me first.
Cool. Well, don't worry. I mean, it's going to be a couple of weeks before this interview goes out from like the time of recording at the moment, so maybe it will get released.
Yeah,
Although I
maybe.
might try and bring this forward just to be able to put in there and some exclusive news heard here first.
Exactly,
I might
yeah.
have to look at my scheduling for that. Now, I do want to quickly ask as well. Yourself and Ronnie, you've been together since the beginning, since the start of Born of Osiris.
Yeah.
What's kept the partnership so strong over the years?
So that's a great question. I should rewind to how we met because
I
it's a
love an
good
origin
story.
story.
Yeah, so I was at a new school. I had moved. So I've always been Illinois based. Just, moved into a new town in the suburbs of Chicago and new school. So I was a fourth grader at in elementary school. I had zero friends in school, so that was kind of hard for me. Just a very shy kid and didn't like sitting alone, playing alone, and all that stuff. Well, I saw Ronnie. He was one of the cool kids. He had tons of friends. He was popular, and I got the courage to go up to Ronnie. I saw that he was trading Pokemon cards. Well, somebody had given me a card. It was a Ponyta, and I didn't know anything about Pokemon. It was the first time I'd even held a Pokemon card, and he had a Charizard. I didn't know the significance of that. I didn't know it was much better than my Ponyta. So my first interaction with Ronnie was showing him my Ponyta. I said, "Hey, I'll trade you," and he laughed in my face.
I shouldn't laugh
So
at that, but like looking
yeah,
back, it must. Yeah,
so that was our first interaction. But no, we ended up in the same classroom, and well, I was wearing a No Effects shirt, the punk band. I was very into punk rock at a pretty early age, and Ronnie was too. And then we realized so music actually brought us together since the first time he saw my No Effects shirt. He was like, "Hey, nice shirt." And then he would have like a corn shirt, and I'd be like, "Hey, nice shirt." So we kind of bonded over music at a young age, and we got in a lot of trouble in our classroom. And it's kind of like in that Offspring song where like you got to keep them separated. That was me and Ronnie. The teachers would tell our parents, "We need to keep them separated. They can't be together." Uh,
that didn't go to plan now, did it?
so yeah, I guess then it was just many years of getting in trouble together after that. But yeah, I think knowing each other at such a young age and then growing together as teenagers and then early 20s and your 20s, which in my mind you're still very much a teenager throughout your entire 20s, like very immature. Well, I can speak for myself. I think I was very
You
immature
speak for
for
me
the
as well, sir. Don't
yeah.
worry. I
Yeah.
was a teenager that was allowed to actually buy booze. Let's leave it at
Oh wow, yeah, what could go wrong? So
that.
I think being through the highs and lows together has formed an unstoppable bond, and we clearly just work very well together, and we share the same humor. I think beyond music, humor keeps us together as well. I think we find ways to make each other laugh no matter what. I don't know how, but we always do.
That's fair. Well, just one final question then, if it's okay. Now,
Sure.
you guys have been helping to shape sort of like the progressive metalcore scene, 2 decades. It scares me to say that, almost 2 decades. Now, how do you feel, the band's legacy has helped influence and shape the genre that it is today?
I think that it has made bands not afraid to explore things beyond the verse chorus format, and not to say that we don't use that, because we do. Every song is different, every album is different, but the Born of Osiris that first emerged and that what we're mostly known for is being a progressive band. I think it made a lot of bands just don't be afraid to not have a chorus. You don't need a chorus in every song, and it can still be a great, memorable song. I think the keyboard breakdowns was a big one. I don't think many bands were just all the instruments stop and you just have like a keyboard doing the Koto sound and go into a breakdown. I think that was the first time a lot of people had heard that. Well, now I'm hearing a lot of other bands incorporating that as well, and it's very very cool to hear. And I will always cite Brand of Sacrifice lately, where early on I could hear them doing things where I was like, oh, they probably like Born of Osiris music, but then I hear it, but I'm like, oh, but they took it a step further. Like this is crazy. So then in turn, I was influenced by that. I'm like, oh, I got to step up my electronics game, and some of the synth tones and the operas and stuff they're using is just next level. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm taking influence from a band that I would assume probably took a little bit of influence from mine as well. They're a bit younger, but shout out to Brand of Sacrifice for making really cool music and
Yeah,
influencing the heck out of my music now.
cool. Well, Cameron, I do want to thank you so much for taking some time out in your wonderful studio, green screen and everything. It's been an absolute pleasure. Incredible to get that little exclusive. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, sir, in January here in London. So thank you so much,
Absolutely.
my friend.
Yeah, Damian. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the show. Send me a message and we can meet up. We'll hang out.
Excellent. See you later, my friend, and thank you.